Hello and welcome to another video. Not a trip report this time, but it's about the new intercities in the Netherlands. Today is the 3rd of July 2022 and these trains have been presented this weekend to the audience. So I even went into the cab and basically walked through the train. These trains will be put in operation later this year, so 2022, to replace the trains on the high-speed line. That's one of them. And some older intercity trains. When these trains will go into service, I'll definitely make a trip report on one of them. Anyway, for now, I hope you like this video. If so, please give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more trip reports by train, ferry and sometimes long distance buses, but about a more sustainable way of transportation all over the world, this channel is about long distance and international traveling. Subscribe to my channel, and for now, let's roll the intro. I started my journey in The Hague, that's where I live. The new trains were being presented in Rotterdam Central Station, what's not that far away from me. Rotterdam Central Station is at the center of the Dutch high-speed line. It's a really beautiful station and somehow I never featured it in one of my trip reports. Within the main hall of the railway station there was this information desk where you can go to. It was obligated to reserve a spot to view the new intercity train. And you might guess so, it was really busy over here. A lot of railway enthusiasts went to this event. I reserved a spot quite some time ago. Actually, I even forgot about it because I didn't put it in my agenda. But thank goodness I didn't have anything planned for today, so I could go here. At the moment your ticket has been scanned to go to the event, you get some basic information and instructions on how to go to the train. And something else, in the main hall there was a simulator, so you could have an impression how it is to ride these new trains. The little kid inside of me really wanted to do this, but it was really busy over here. Because of this event, it was not necessary to use the public transport smart card to check in to go through the gates. Some staff was there to assist us to go through the gates. I really want to point out that this event has been arranged very well, and therefore I want to compliment the Dutch state-owned railway company NS. They did a great job on this. Before I'll show you the interior of these trains, let's take a look at the outside of these trains. These trains have been manufactured by the French train manufacturer Alstom in a factory in Poland, and are based on the Coradia Stream type trains. You find them in many places in Europe. The color scheme comes in the classic yellow and blue, that's most common for Dutch long distance trains. At the side you find the numbers 1 and 2 that will indicate the first and the second class, and some icons do indicate some facilities within these trains as well. An extra line above the blue stripe does indicate exactly where the first class is located within these trains. The doors are really big, and this has to do with some situation that there might be a lot of air pressure, for example on the high-speed line and in tunnels. These new trains will mainly serve the high-speed line, and there will also be a lot of new railway lines that will partially use the high-speed line and the conventional railway lines. The top speed for these trains on the high-speed line is 200 km per hour, so these are slow high-speed trains. At both sides of the train, at the front and the back, they created this photo thing. I really like it and it gave some great exposure. And at the moment it was my turn, I could make this shot of the front of the train. I really like the front, by the way. It's different because of the black than most Dutch trains. And the next thing was something that took me a while, because it's possible to take a look at the cab of these trains. I really like this, but there was a long queue for this, and I actually waited for over an hour to be able to go in. By the way, basic LED screens at the side and at the front of the train do indicate basic route information as well. After being very patient, I was being rewarded and I could have a look within the cab of the train. It looks quite minimal, I have to say, but it's quite an advanced system. 20 of these trains that have been ordered, in a total of 99, are also capable to run to Belgium, and therefore these trains do have most modern safety systems on board. The train driver that was here to inform people was really talkative and helpful, and it's really nice. I really like that. Another thing you'll find in the cab is a first aid kit. For now, let's take a close look at the interior of these trains. And I'll start off with this section where you find some place for bikes. There are quite a lot of spots like this, by the way, and they're spread out over the train. You'll find these, I think the best way to describe it is like a belt you can use to lock your bike, and right behind that there's also a USB power plug. There are lots of power plugs in general, and especially plugs for USB charging points. The second class does have blue seats. At the beginning of most compartments there's a couch, what's also called the lounge area. Most seats within these trains do face each other, and between the seats there's a power plug and a USB charging point. At the moment the seats do face each other, you find a mix of smaller and bigger tables. I really like it that these bigger tables are back on Dutch trains again. There are special luggage racks within the open compartments where you can store quite a lot of luggage, but of course, between the back ends of the seats you can also store quite a lot of luggage. And of course, all over the train you will find the overhead luggage racks. Clear screens at the end of each compartment will host route information, and CCTV is operational all over the train, except for within the toilet of course. There are special zones, and these zones will be indicated by different mood lights, as you can see here where it's pink. This is the quiet zone, but I didn't find it very clear that this is the quiet zone. Apart from that, the quiet zone was in the middle of the train. And again, at the middle of the train there are some spots where you can park bikes. Just like the previous spots, there are also USB charging points over here. Garbage cans you can use to recycle can be found near the entrance and the exit doors, and you'll also find USB points at this point. The great thing about these folding seats is if you fold them up, they're a great place to lean on. Even though the seats in these trains might look at first like the seats you can find on the refurbished double-deck trains within the Netherlands, they are really different, and personally I found them better as in the double-deck trains. Seats specially reserved for people with mobility problems have been marked, as you can see here on the headrest. For the interior there have been a lot of discussions with not only travelers but also cleaners, so they can find both comfort seats but also seats that are easy to maintain. And personally, I'm not a big fan of seats that do face each other, and you find this most in second class. In first class there are more airline style seats, but I think here it's about 50% airline style seats and the other half is facing each other. There are no seats facing each other without a table, and because first class comes in a 2x1 configuration, you will find always a table at the solo seats at the moment they do face each other. Just like in second class, you'll find different mood lines and different zones. Some seats where you find 4 seats facing each other do have a smaller table, and other seats do have a bigger table, as you can see over here. Within the first class you will find one power plug and USB outlet per seat, so there are definitely more over here. A little bit more at the other side of the train from where I started my tour, there's some extra space for people traveling in a wheelchair, so with mobility problems. You'll find some folding seats over here as well, so if you have someone who's traveling on a wheelchair, you can basically sit next to him or her, and I really like this. There's a lot of space, and if there are no wheelchairs over here, you can also use this as extra space for luggage, but you also find your luggage racks at this point. Something else at this point is the bigger accessible toilet in this train. The other toilet was locked, but I could go in here. Apart from the fact that this is also accessible for people with mobility problems, so in a wheelchair for example, this specific toilet can also be turned into a nursery space for babies. So you have some more space in general over here. I really like the pictures at the wall. It's not unique, but I really like it. And this is how you turn it into a nursery space for babies. The rest of the train comes in a second class configuration and is basically the same of what you saw a little bit earlier on. At the total back and at the total front of the train you find some more airline style seats, and that's at the higher level over here. And even though I'm personally not a big fan of seats that do face each other, I guess most Dutch people like it because otherwise there wouldn't be so much within these trains. The airline style seats do offer a small tray table, and at the side, all over the second class, you will find coat hangers. There are no sunscreens within these trains. The first class, where you find the red seats, these seats can be reclined, and you can't do this in the second class. The table is at a perfect height, I can even cross my legs. The airline style seats, of which you find more in first class, do have a footrest, a tray table that's quite far away I do have to say, a coat hanger in the seat and also at the side. Within the first class you also have reading lights within these trains. Overall, I think these are pretty good long distance trains. The comfort level is good. You can't reserve seats, but this counts for all trains within the Netherlands, at least the domestic trains. And there's no dining car either. However, the comfort level is pretty good, and I think these trains are for the Netherlands good long distance trains, because true long distances you won't find that in the Netherlands. That's it for this video. Once again, different from my other videos. I will publish a trip report this week as well. I think a little bit later than normal, Friday or Saturday, but it will be there, and it will be on the train from San Sebastian or Donostia in Basque to Barcelona. This is on an Alvia train. These trains can switch the width of the tracks. Anyway, once again, I hope you liked it. If you do so, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more train related videos, subscribe to my channel. And something else, in the description of this video on YouTube, you find a link to a map, and on that map you can find all trip reports I did. Ciao!